I went for a walk last week. Nothing special, no destination, no fitness goal, no podcast in my ears, just walking. And at some point, I noticed flowers on the side of the road, which sounds completely unremarkable, except I've driven that same road for years. The same road, the same verge, presumably the same flowers, showing up every spring whether anyone notices them or not. I never saw them, not once. And standing there looking at these flowers, I had one of those moments that retirement seems to keep delivering, where something completely ordinary stops you cold, because it made me wonder, what else have I been driving past? Now, here's the honest answer to that question. Almost everything. For 30 years, my attention was spoken for before the day even began. Work, family obligations, the kids, whatever was due, whatever was next. The continuous low hum of everything still needing doing. My attention wasn't mine. It was distributed thinly across every demand a full working life makes. And I want to be fair to myself here. That's not a character flaw, that's just the math of a busy life. When you spread your attention across 30 things, it becomes a thin film, covering everything and penetrating nothing. You cover the ground, you miss the territory. The flowers were there the whole time. The lyrics were in the song. I talked about that last week. The quiet moments were always available. My attention just had other plans. So, here I am, 1 month into retirement. No schedule, no cases to manage, no second family of colleagues expecting me somewhere at 9 in the morning. And I went for this walk, which, I'll be honest, felt slightly ridiculous at first, a grown man walking for no reason in the middle of a Tuesday. But somewhere along that walk, I saw the flowers. Same road, same verge, same flowers that show up every spring, completely indifferent to whether anyone notices them. Different eyes this time, because for the first time in longer than I can honestly remember, I had attention available. Not divided, not rationed, not already allocated to 17 other things before I even got out of bed. Just available. And what I discovered is that attention, when it stops being divided, it concentrates, and concentration reveals what was always there, which sounds obvious when you say it out loud. And yet, most of us spend our entire lives proving it wrong. Now, I need to say something before we go any further, because if I don't say it, someone watching this will rightly call me out. What I'm talking about, this is a privilege. I have a work pension. It's not equivalent to my working income, not even close. I still have bills to pay. I have a mortgage, young kids. I still have financial obligations that don't pause because I've decided to have an existential moment about flowers on a Tuesday. But that pension has given me something worth more than its dollar amount right now. It's given me time. A small window before the next chapter begins in earnest to discover what I actually notice when I'm not too busy to notice anything. And I'm aware that most people watching this don't have that window. The bills don't pause, the obligations don't wait. The pressure to keep moving doesn't particularly care about flowers on the roadside. I'm not going to pretend otherwise. But here is what I genuinely believe. The principle doesn't require a pension. It requires intention. Even small reductions in unnecessary activity create space. Even 15 minutes, an actual 15 minutes, not 15 minutes with your phone face down next to you while you think about your phone, creates the conditions for something real to surface. The pension made it easier for me to practice this. It didn't invent it. I've been thinking about what the philosophers understood. The Stoics had a practice called subtraction. Before adding anything new to your life, a commitment, a possession, an obligation, ask first what you can remove. Because every addition costs attention, and attention spent on the unnecessary is attention unavailable for what actually matters. I'll say that again because I think it's worth sitting with. Every addition costs attention, and attention spent on the unnecessary is attention unavailable for what actually matters. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor, arguably the most powerful man alive in the 2nd century, wrote to himself constantly about the discipline of doing less. This is a man with an empire to run, and he kept asking himself before each action, is this necessary? Not, is this productive? Not, does this make me look good? Not, will this move the needle? Just, is this necessary? He wasn't lazy. He was precise. There's a difference. The Buddhists call something similar beginner's mind, approaching even familiar things as if encountering them for the first time, without the overlay of habit and assumption and half attention. Children have this naturally. Watch a 2-year-old discover a puddle sometime. That is beginner's mind in its purest form. Most of us lose it somewhere in the process of becoming responsible adults. What I'm discovering is that a beginner's mind isn't a meditation technique or a personality type. It's what happens when you remove enough noise. The flowers were always there. The capacity to see them was always there too. I just needed to stop doing enough things that some attention became free. There is a saying most of us have heard so many times it stopped meaning anything. Slow down and smell the roses. We nod at it, we put it on calendars, we forward it to people going through difficult times. And then we go back to whatever we were doing, because nobody tells you the inconvenient part. You can't smell the roses while simultaneously managing everything else. You can't. Attention doesn't multitask. It just pretends to. So the question I want to leave you with today is simple. What are you driving past? Not the flowers necessarily, though maybe the flowers. What is present in your life right now that your attention hasn't reached yet? What has been there the whole time, waiting for a Tuesday morning walk, waiting for the moment you have enough stillness to actually notice it? You don't need a pension, you need less. And occasionally, a walk with no destination. I'll see you next week.